Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Recovery Classroom. My name is Drew. I'm an alcoholic, and today, by the grace of God, I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I could not be any more grateful. We had a hell of a good time last night. Went to one of the treatment facilities. We go to treatment facilities, and we'll share and talk with folks. And we were able to pull out the old Crosstalk QA panel last night. We just had so much fun. It was awesome. I want to talk this morning about one of the topics, the last topic that came in from last Tuesday's Crosstalk meeting. We ran out of time, and so I told everybody that I would cover it, and I wanted to talk about that today. Let me set the stage for you, though. My day one of coming back into sobriety, July the 6th, 2021, I was 80 pounds overweight, and I remember thinking back to how I used to like to run, and I was like, well, I'm going to go run today, try to run. Key operative word there. And it was so bad I had to have my daughter drive my truck behind me while I was trying to run, and she wasn't even a licensed driver yet at that point. But that 80 pounds, man, it made it a lot more difficult to run that day. Now I can assure you it's a lot easier for me to run today than what it was almost 3 years ago. Why? Well, because I let go of that 80 pounds. I lost 80 pounds. And the point here is it's a lot easier for me to move forward without that 80 pounds, without that burden, without that baggage that I was carrying around. More often than not, in recovery, it's a very similar story, very familiar story, actually. Matter of fact, you may be carrying around your own 80 pounds. You may be carrying around your own additional weight. You may be carrying around your own burdens. That makes it a lot more difficult for you to move forward. What am I talking about? I'm talking about forgiveness. Forgiveness. See, there's two ways to look at forgiveness. There's, whenever we have to forgive other people, but more often than not, it seems like sometimes we get the biggest hang-ups whenever we have to forgive ourselves. We're so ready and willing to forgive somebody who may have wronged us. I'm a lot more ready and willing to forgive somebody, and I'm a grudge-holding son of a bitch, let me tell you. But I'm still a lot more willing and ready to forgive somebody who maybe harmed me than what I was to forgive myself, right? And that, I think that's par for the course. I think that's what a lot of us happens to a lot of us anyway. Is sure I may wrong you, and you may be pissed off at me, you may hate me for a while, but eventually you learn to kind of forgive me, sorta, to a degree. But when it comes to forgiving yourself, man, that's a whole nother story. When I look back. And I think back when I was in active addiction with my alcoholism, the harm that I felt or that I inflicted on my family members, my kids, my wife, the people I cared the most about, I hurt them. And so when I got sober, I started feeling guilty. I started feeling shameful and remorseful. I started having all these emotions come back. And a lot of people do that. They start feeling guilty and remorseful, and I don't know how to deal with that. Oh my God, I feel so bad, like you want to fix it. Well, there's two things I want to point out. One, first and foremost, we can't go back and change the past. And that's what makes it even harder, right? Knowing that we can't go back and change what we did when we were in active addiction. We made those decisions when we were in active addiction. We can't go back and change it. So that makes it even more difficult to deal with, right? Well, here's the point you might be missing. Whenever we start looking back and we start feeling guilty and shameful and remorseful about the things we did, that's a good sign. That means that your brain is starting to clear out. You're starting to be able to think logically again. You can look back at a situation and logically arrive at the conclusion, yeah, you fucked up. Now, granted, we can't go back and fix it. But the fact that we do feel shameful, we do feel remorseful, we realize and we're sad because we harmed people in our lives, the people in some cases that were the closest to us. That's a good sign. That means you're feeling again. And this time you're feeling and you're not acting out on that feeling. You're not putting a drug in you. You're not pouring a drink down your throat. I did that for years. I felt horrible about who I'd allowed myself to become, the type of person I was. I felt horrible about that. The way I treated my family, I felt absolutely horrible about it. And when I got sober, I had these emotions come rushing back. I just felt like I couldn't forgive myself. That's the same thing, me carrying around 80 pounds of weight trying to run. See, again, it's a lot harder for us to move forward when we're carrying around all this extra baggage. And we think, oh man, I feel so shameful and remorseful and it's just so hard for me to move forward. No, it's not. You just got to keep putting your one foot in front of the other. Sure, it may be a slow process, like me running out there that day, but it's a good thing you're feeling shameful and remorseful because, again, you're now realizing I've got feelings. I can feel. I can apply logic, reason, and rationale. I can look back at that situation and say, man, I was a dick. So how do we correct it? Well, like I said earlier, we can't go back and change the past. We just can't. But we've all had experiences where somebody has said, oh, I'm sorry, I'll never do that again, right? Because we've said that same thing. But then lo and behold, just an hour or two later, a day later, they go back out and do the very same thing again that they just got done apologizing to us for, right? We were like that too in our active addiction. Oh, I'll never drink again. I remember telling my son, my kids that, my wife, oh, I'm stopping. And I meant it at the time I said it. I truly did. I meant it at the time I said it. But then, lo and behold, I go right back out and do it all over again. Sometimes within like the hour, right? We can't go back and change the past. But what we can do, instead of saying, I'm sorry, and, we've all been there. Sure, we can apologize, but the real way to move forward, and the real way to let go of all that baggage, and the real way to prove to people that we truly are sorry, that we truly want to change, and that we're truly trying to change, the real way to prove that is through consistency. Consistently showing them, hey, look, you know what? I feel bad. I feel bad for what I did. I feel bad for what I said. I can't take it back, but I can change my behavior going forward. Let me show you how I'm changing. I said the other day on the monologue, I tried like hell proving to everybody else, myself included, that I could control my drinking. And time again, I failed at that effort. Well, let me prove to you now that I have changed, and watch me. Watch me change. Watch me by my actions. Don't just listen to my words. Watch my actions. Well, there's a great saying I absolutely love. Actions always speak louder than words. And that's so true. So I can't, I can only ask you for forgiveness for to a certain point. But whenever that person sees my actions, that's when they're going to truly start being able to go, oh, shit, maybe he is changing after all. And if they can forgive you, why can't you forgive yourself? Let go of the baggage. Accept the fact that there may be situations that we just can't change. Okay. But don't get wrapped up in those feelings of grief and remorse and shame, because that's a good sign. That means you're actually starting to process emotions the way that God intended us to process emotions. That's a good sign. Let go of that baggage. Stop carrying it around. Drop the extra weight and take off and keep moving forward. I'm not saying you got to run fast. I'm not saying you got to move forward fast. Just moving forward, one foot in front of the other, one step at a time. With that being said, I'll let you guys go. Thank you guys for letting me come in and share 5 to 10 minutes of your day with you. You guys absolutely keep me sober, and I could not be any more appreciative. If there is a topic you would like to have discussed, feel free to drop it in the Recovery Classroom private group page. It's a Facebook page out there. We maintain anonymity. You can drop it in there, and we have a whole slew of us behind the scenes kind of monitoring that and trying to share feedback. You can email me directly, Drew, D-R-E-W, at recoveryclassroom.org, and I'll take a look at your topic, see if we can parse it out. Tomorrow night, Friday night, we have our Crosstalk meeting at the Crosstalk Friday at Pea Ridge United Methodist Church, located at 5747 East Pea Ridge Road in Huntington at 7 o'clock. If you've never been to a Crosstalk meeting, you want to come down and check out these Crosstalk meetings, man. They're pretty cool, pretty powerful stuff, and we just have fun. It's very comfortable, very relaxed. Not a formal traditional meeting by any means. So we'll be talking again soon, guys. Remember, you can't get drunk if you don't take that first drink.